What's up, everyone? I am Ernest Dove. This is the New York Mets Dove Report, talking about insider information from within the backfields at Clover Park. New York Mets minor league spring training games and intra-squad games are underway all week. I want to get into some of the stuff I've been hearing, seeing behind the scenes, including some of the top prospects like Randy Guzman, Elian Peña, and a handful of pitchers. I also want to talk about a pitcher who hasn't even made his debut yet, who started one of the games this week. And I also want to end the segment with some positive news on a pitcher who really hasn't pitched much in pro ball. He has missed all of last season. He's in the backfields throwing as well. I'll add that at the end. Let's get started. One of the new guys, 22-year-old Frank Camarillo, who was a mid-round pick in last year's draft, product of Santa Barbara, UC Santa Barbara. He told he was pitching in the backfields this week as a starting pitcher, was topping 95 miles an hour. Good sign from a guy that we haven't seen yet, so I haven't been able to hug him yet. But thankfully now things are looking good for Frank Camarillo, so keep an eye on him now as the minor league season begins. Some of the guys making some returns, including the reliever prospect Ben Simon, back off his stint with World Baseball Classic Team Israel. He's back participating, got into a game this week. He's throwing 95 to 97 plus. Got a couple of strikeouts in his inning of work this week. Still looks really good. It's why I surprisingly have him ranked in my top 20 prospects, because relievers don't get enough love. And number two, I think Ben Simon has the ability to be a major league reliever, which is the point of prospects, to get to the major leagues. Another relief pitcher who's in the backfields this week getting into the same game, Brett Banks. Brett Banks, as you've seen a few times here and there, has been a fill-in guy, travel roster guy, filling in with the major league squad during spring games. And guess what? He has snuck into 3 games without allowing a run. 3 appearances, 2 1/3 innings, 0 runs, 4 Ks. This week in the backfields, getting into one of the games, he recorded a couple of strikeouts. Again, he's the guy you got to pay attention to his slider. It's a really good new slider taught to him by the new assistant pitching coach, Dan McKinney. Things are looking good ongoing for Brett Banks. Keep an eye on him during the year. He should be an upper minors arm. Another guy coming out of nowhere of sorts as an undrafted pitcher, Hunter Hodges, former undrafted pitcher from the 2022 season. He also had a multiple K inning in the backfields this week, showing off an above average sweeper. Looks like that's his claim to fame, the ticket that he can try to take him all the way up to the major leagues. Last season in low A and high A combined, opponents only hit 181 against him. So why is he not already being rushed all the way up to the upper minors even from last year? The concern has been a very, very high walk rate. That's going to be the thing with Hunter Hodges to pay attention to all year throughout the 2026 season, what happens with the walks. Now let's get to some of the bats. Got to start with the one and only Elian Peña, who's been looking really good in the backfields. I've been reporting on him since December, January, when he was getting into the hitting lab, getting stateside now. Here he is in the backfields looking really good offensively. Some of the raves about Elian Peña is his maturity, baseball IQ. And one thing that almost actually surprised me a little based on other scouting and reports I've been getting, his defense looked really good this week in the games. I'm told he looked very smooth, fluid, turned multiple double plays, playing the shortstop position. Again, this is some eye-popping stuff that they were talking about to me. This is really good for the young Elian Peña, who seems to already look the part now that he is stateside. Another young guy who had a breakout season for the ages last year, Randy Guzman, looking good. Same with Elian Peña. He's been in the hitting lab since December, January. But one of the biggest things about Randy Guzman, even brought up to me this week, he is a large human. He is a big young man. He always reminds me of already what Ronnie Mauricio looks like now. And he's already doing it and looking it as a teenager. They play different positions. Randy Guzman is a more of a corner outfielder and possible first baseman. But he is so huge with such power potential. I'm actually curious 2-3 years from now, will a guy like Randy Guzman actually be a full-time first baseman? Time will tell. One other young guy I want to talk about is a young Bohan Adderley, a very tall, athletic guy as well. I'm hearing good overall things in the backfields during these games this week, how he looked at the plate, and defensively, he's been getting reps at third base. He's going to be an interesting guy because, again, he's one of those kind of uber athlete guys. You don't know how the hitting tool is going to come together for him. But Bohan Adderley can be an extremely interesting prospect if the hit tool can start matching up with his overall athleticism. Before I end the show on the segment, a quick update on a pitcher we haven't seen much in pro ball, Wyatt Hudpole. He's the guy that was drafted back in 2023, and then he pitched in 2024 only for 29 innings. And then we didn't see him at all last year. He was on the AFL roster this past offseason, got pulled from the AFL offseason. So he keeps starting from scratch. But the good news is Wyatt Hudpole has been pitching and throwing this week in the backfields. Might be more low 90s, maybe touching 95, which was what he was doing back in 2024. So hopefully a very good sign for a young man who's now 24, has a lot of catching up to do, but I'm glad he's back in the backfields throwing, hopefully hoping for the best in 2026. Thank you guys for listening to this latest segment and episode on the New York Mets Dove Report. Please subscribe to the channel, comment, subscribe, turn on those post notifications. I'm going to be continuing to provide all the coverage I can, minor leagues, major leagues, and all. I guys got you covered. I'll see you next time.